What's up guys, Shane here from Fugatech 3D Printing, and today we're going to unbox and have a first look at some prints using the Palette 2S Pro. Welcome back guys. So right here in front of me I have the Mosaic Manufacturing Palette 2S Pro. They sent this over to me actually several months ago for me to check out, and I did an unboxing and I just didn't really get to editing that video, and then I kind of took a break with work, and now with the current world situation I'm finding myself a lot more time, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to dedicate time to just print like a madman with this and get some initial thoughts out for you guys so you know what to think of this. So a few things first before we actually talk about this, a little background for me. The first thing I ever bought from multi-material was the Prusa MMU2 and upgraded to the MMU2S, and it worked, then it didn't, then it worked, then it didn't. So I sold it and that's gone now, but I did do some initial test prints with that to kind of also pair against this one, which I think I only have one or two hanging around still. But I'm kind of just to show you the differences, pros and cons of the two of them a little bit. This video is not about that, it's more about the palette, but just to give you a little sneak peek of a difference between a different multi-material machine. Now this one is standalone and can be paired with any 3D printer out there, which makes it so appealing, but also comes with the price tag of it because it's very unique device. Not everyone would need something like this, and not everyone will want something like this, but it's very unique and what it does, so I really want to talk about this. Second thing, Mosaic Manufacturing did send this to me thanks to my friends over at 3D Printing Canada. They were the ones that said, hey, go check out Shane. They did. We talked for a while and they were finally able to get one shipped out to me. I received this early December, I would say, or mid-December, right before Christmas, right around Christmas time. I finally got this in, did some prints, shelved it, and then did a bunch more, so now we're going to share. So if you're wondering, what is the Palette 2S Pro? So the Palette 2S Pro, or the Palette 2S is the new version, the 2 is the older version. What it is it is a 4 filament in, and it takes those 4 filaments and it slices them down here in the middle and fuses them together with this heating core and creates one strand of filament to come out. They are precisely measured. You use their slicing software and you import your multi-material model. It measures, figures everything out for you. You add in the certain colors you want, and then it starts basically making filament for you, custom-made filament. And it uses a purge block in order to get through those transitions to get from one color to another. In a nutshell, that's basically what it is. It's a multi-color machine. Now you can do PLA with PLA, PLA with PETG, and TPU with TPU. There could be other mixtures in there that you could do, I just don't know, but all I've done so far in my initial testing is PLA with PLA. Various different colors. I've had some issues with some and great results with other. We'll get into that. But again, in a nutshell, that's kind of what this is. This also can be used for other things. I did a recent video on how you can use this machine to basically make filament. So if you have a lot of end rolls, which I've created several of them right here, you can use this to just basically spit out filament and fuse your end spools together, and that way you don't have to keep swapping spools every time. You might not have a printer that has a filament out sensor. If you're buying one of this, you might, but again, you might not. There's lots of printers that do not come with that feature, or some people don't even use that feature. So you've got a bunch of end spools you want to use. Well, this, a bonus to having, I wouldn't buy it just for this, but a bonus to this is being able to make these spools, which I've made, I think 3 or 4 I have sitting back here. Various different times I've made them, and it's been great for prototyping. I throw one of those on a printer and just print, and hey, there's my part. The colors don't matter, it's prototyping, but again, I really like being able to do that. The main shtick of this is being able to print multicolored models. Now, these models have to be made a certain way by the designer, or you can do something else and you actually can paint your model. And I've only done one of those, and I'll show you the results from that. But when you paint the model in their software, which is Canvas, you basically have to you can drag your cursor over the parts you want painted, and it'll group those different faces and color them for you. You can color any color you want, whatever color filament you have, or represent of that there. There's also ways to kind of isolate certain areas and use kind of a paint bucket paint tool and just paint, and boom, it does all of it. You have to get your settings right for that, but there is a way to get in there and change that, paint that, and that way you can change full surfaces all at once. And I was able to do that here on my Maker coin, and it turned out fairly well. I did have a little bit of issues on the bottom where there was one area where it did not shade in. I don't know why, but again, it was well worth the test on, okay, how do I even do that? This was actually one of the first prints I did, and it was successful off the bat. There were some issues because I didn't properly tune it, but I got through it, and other models after that were very successful. So all these prints were printed on my original Prusa i3 Mark III S. Well, it was the Mark III, then I upgraded to the S, but either way, on my Prusa. It's their preferred machine to use. You don't have to use it. You literally can hook this up to any 3D printer you want. You just have to import your profile into their online slicer, which is called Canvas. But basically you can import your settings into there, change them up how is needed, and then off to the races you go. It does take tuning. I would dedicate probably about one day or just a few hours to just tuning this, getting those prints done, because again, you have to wait for the print. So probably a day is just going to go into tuning your prints. I shouldn't say your prints. You have to tune your slices, then you can tune the prints, make sure everything is correct. And the awesome software is baked in on this, walks you through that step by step. It does come with a user guide, but honestly, I didn't really find myself using it. It actually is a really good guide. I did read through it, but it's plenty of pictures, how things go together and whatnot. But the actual software on the machine was wonderful to help me get through what I needed to get through. Now, initially, I did have an issue with the splicing. I could not get good splices. And actually, I didn't know that a newer firmware had come out. So I went ahead and installed that, enabled what they call endurance mode. And then that immediately solved all of my splicing issues, which was very thankful to know. But again, I wish I would have known that I needed a newer version of the, the firmware it goes on here. But once that was done, problems were solved and things went well from there. I mentioned their slicer. So you do have to use Canvas, which is their online only slicer. It's very quick. I've had no issues with it, but you do have to use that. There is a way to do a different mod using Prusa Slicer. You have to install something in there. I have not ventured in that at all. I am only using Canvas to slice all of these models and to select my colors. Anything like that is all done through their software. For now, I'll explore more of that later, but just know that out of the bat, you need to use the Canvas software, which is very easy to use. You have to set up your palette in there. You have to set up your printer. Then you have to pair your printer with the palette, and then you can start slicing models, because I didn't get that connection at first, but once I got through there, okay, great. That's what I needed to do, because I didn't realize why it wouldn't let me slice. It was just a little step that I had missed, but either way, learning a new slicer. It's very easy to use though, very intuitive, drag and drop with your colors. Very easy to use. So once you've tuned your splices, everything looks good, and you've made any changes you need to change, again, the software walks you through on what to do. They also have fantastic support articles on their website with a bunch of GIFs as well, or short videos on how to change things or fix things. Not surprisingly, but again, this is a premium product, and I'm glad to see that they do have a premium support back end to it. At least it has been for me. I don't know about other people, but for me, I found a very good resource. And if I had any problems, I just sent an email to their support team. They were able to help me figure out what my problem was, which was mostly on the user end. It really wasn't the device. It was me not quite understanding how things work together. So there is a slight learning curve with getting this working, in my opinion. I already showed you, I kind of jumped the gun and did my coin with painting and trying to figure it out. I used the 3D Maker Noobs video to kind of sort my way through there and how to make the areas, and then how to use the paint tool and like the bucket tool and just kind of splash the whole thing. But again, it did work. Supports were not enabled, so there is a little bit of drooping underneath, but other than that, it was a fantastic print. I expected nothing less out of the Prusa Mark III S, but to see that I really only had like 2 issues in here was really good to see off the first print. Now the second print I did was this, gyroscope. Basically, it's like a target. I was just testing 3 colors at first. Well, 2 colors for my coin. Now I was up to 3 colors with this, and basically they all just kind of spin inside of each other, which is really cool. I've always wanted to print this, and especially in multi-material, for as awesome as it looks. And it worked out really well. Purge block is sizable for these. I'm also going to go ahead and put down the weights just so you can see how much the part actually weighs and how much the actual purge block weighs, which is quite significant. And next, it was Christmas time, so I went ahead and printed out a Santa. Now this was my first 4-color print, and it uses quite a huge purge block. So again, this came out absolutely great. It's I forget the actual name of this, but I'll put a link down below for what this little Santa is. But man, he turned out great. Very easy to color and do everything in Canvas, but he just turned out fantastic. One issue in here though was a little bit of bleeding between the red and the white. So I would need to go in and actually change the transition, the to and from on the white, which you can do in Canvas software, and just kind of make those a little bit bigger so that I have more purge before I go to the white color, otherwise you get the bleed through. White is the hardest color to 3D print with when you're doing multi-material like this, so just be aware of that. And then I took a break, and then I came back. So then I started with these other prints. And I started right off the bat where I figured, well, I got the new setup, I might as well go ahead and do actually their test print, which is this Mosaic Manufacturing keychain. And it's a 2-part keychain, and you're supposed to check out this and make sure that this is about 30%, and the color change, again, it walks you through everything on how to do that, and then that this has no color separation or no bleeding, or there's no wrong color in the wrong place. No, it worked out great. Very easy 2-color print, but this should be the first thing you print after doing your splice calibration. All right, next up, let's change it up. Let's do different colors. So I went ahead with the red and orange, and I did this awesome dual color hollow FlexiRex. FlexiRex is probably one of my favorite models to print, but man, he came out absolutely great. A little bit of drooping on the 1 foot, but again, that's because of the model and the printer, but no interventions needed for this at all. It just printed straight through in about 4 hours. Next, I kept those same colors in. I added a 3rd color in, and we added black, and we did this very little cute multicolor Charmander. And actually my kids stole this, and I had to go find it in order to do this video. But yes, this is an actual super awesome model. But when you add in that extra model, it adds a lot more to your purge block, which was very surprising that the purge block for the dual color Rex, which was bigger, had a much smaller purge block compared to the Charmander, which only has a smidgen of black in the very bottom feet. But I guess because there's that down there and you're doing all 3 colors at the bottom, it sets the stage for everything else above it. That's unfortunate, and this does waste quite a lot of material, but if you're doing this multi-material printing, you're willing to lose material to purge. All right, next up, I went with another Christmas model, and this is the little Baby Yoda Christmas ornament that I helped a guy on Twitter. He said he was trying to make this. I was like, hey, let me try and print that for you on my different machines. This one here was printed on the Palette 2S Pro. I have another one printed on the Prusa i3 Mark III S, which I'll show you here. And they did use different green, but the other colors were the same. But it turned out fantastic. A smidgen of bleeding in the green on like 2 or 3 lines that you can see in there. Other than that, it was great. Huge purge block again because I am doing 3 colors, 4 colors, very big purge block on this. Now in comparison to the Prusa i3 Mark III S using the MMU 2S, again, the model came out looking fantastic, different color green. I like this green better, but I didn't have any more of it. And the purge block is absolutely tiny compared to it, and it weighs hardly anything compared to the palette. Again, there is a mod to be able to have less purging or less loss of filament or less waste filament from using this other mod with the palette, but I'm not there yet. But right off the bat, Prusa does a much better job at managing the waste from a multicolor material print. And the last print I did before doing this video is a little 3-color penguin. Mosaic Manufacturing has a ton of models on Thingiverse that you can use, probably 70 models at least, of different things that you can print in different colors. And I thought, you know what, I've got some really good colors for this penguin. Let's go ahead and do this. So here it is, and again, the monstrous purge block that weighs in way more than this model. But again, came out great. I did have one issue with this, and it was with white, and I've had white issues earlier. And sometimes white just does not want to bond well with other colors. You can change that in Canvas, and you can change the material type and change the cooling or the compression or the heat with that one color. So just be aware that not every color is the same, and white is my one issue. I did have to have 2 interactions or fixes with this, and I've had to do a weird way to get it fixed. I'm not going to go into that right now, but either way, it still came out great, but I did have to mess around with the white. Now I showed you a bunch of completed prints here. Yes, there were failures. Some filament had broken inside, I had some bad splices happen, and this machine is definitely not perfect, at least right off the bat. I'm still learning, I'm still sorting through the software. I'm now using Canvas Hub on a Raspberry Pi hooked up there to my Mark III S, and that way I can upload everything from Canvas directly to the Canvas Hub, hit print, and it just starts working. I would probably do a video kind of going through that just to kind of show you the options of just printing using the SD card in here, which mounts right here in the top, or you can use the Canvas Hub and just upload it directly from their website and then walk over the machine and do the steps you need to do. 6 of 1 dozen out of they both work, but again, you might find one way easier than the other. So how am I using this? Well, I have the palette mounted on the wall using and it's actually mounted upside down. So I had to use a special 3D printed bracket for that because their bracket only allows you to mount it in one direction, which is the output at the top and the 4 color inputs at the bottom. My way puts the output at the bottom, the inputs at the top, and way up on my wall I have the rep box mounted. And there's a rep box 2 now, but if you're not familiar with those, it's a multi-spool holder that has a bunch of PTFE outputs to it that you can put it into the palette or the MMU2S, or you can just use it to store your filament because it looks cool. Mine has some nice custom side plates too, which I really like, but they go down along the wall into the bottom, into the top rack I should say, into the palette, and the palette is right next to my Mark 3S and the Ender 3. I have not started printing with the Ender 3 yet. That is very much on the docket to do. I want to do prints with multiple printers, test them out. But for now, everything has been done through the Mark 3S because it has been such a seamless and easy thing to use and pair with. You have to print one little piece for the top because their stock piece, which I don't know where it went, you do have to have the sticky part of a hook and loop system basically that has a grommet and that can hold on to the PTFE tube when you put it in the top. Well, the Prusa motors get so hot that just kind of comes unstuck. I mean, they don't use a very strong adhesive because I guess they want you to be able to take it off. They could use like a crazy 3M and it never come off, but it does, and it peels away, and I've had issues with that messing up my prints. So I went ahead and print out an alternative, and that has been working out great, and thankfully it actually has a long throat to it, and I can go ahead and feed my reverse Bowden tube in there as well, just to help with guiding my normal one color prints that I don't use the palette for. It doesn't fit in there tightly, but hey, it just needs to guide the filament into the top of the extruder, and it does that very well. So all in all, so far, I've had failures, I've also had a lot of successes, and I've learned a ton with this. This is definitely a learning experience. This is a very niche object, and it is not plug it in and absolutely print. It's close to it, but not quite. You do have to take some considerations and learn some of the settings with this to get the best results for you. I did find this a much better experience than using the MMU2S from Prusa. I've seen people have good success with that, and I've seen many people be in the same boat as me and just have failure after failure, and you have to keep interrupting and keep fixing that, and it just takes too much. I've had this for a few months. I've done a few dozen prints with it. So again, I'm not an expert on this yet, but I will definitely be doing a lot more printing with this, just see how well I can do. I had to also send a special thanks out to 3D Printing Canada, who provided all the filament for all this testing and many more colors to come in upcoming videos. I might just do some time lapses or just do some more multi-material prints, go more in depth with the Canvas software or other ways that you can slice things and use the Palette 2S Pro. If you guys want to see that, please make sure you like the video and tell me down in the comments things you would like to see printed with this, or how other workflows work, or things like that. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. So now I'd like to take you guys back to a long time ago, a few months ago, when I did the unboxing of this. I was super excited. The video is not fantastic, but I wanted to add it to the end just in case you're curious all what comes in the box. I go through all of that in my unboxing, and that's going to be here at the end of the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys got to see a little bit about what the Palette 2S Pro is like, and the things you can make with it, and the results you can get having a well-tuned profile and getting everything tuned properly. It's been a whole lot of fun, and I can't wait to do more with this. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If not, thumbs down. Either way, talk in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you what you think about the unit, the video, the things that I printed. Let me know what you think down below. If you guys want to stay in tune with what's going on, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon. That way you get some notifications when I upload new content or do any live streams. If you want to support me financially, do things on my channel, become a patron. Down below is a link for that. It only takes $1 to access my Patreon feed and the after shows. And I thank you guys for doing that. It helps me build projects, buy printers, do all kinds of things. So my patrons truly are the backbone of this channel. Otherwise, you can help out. There's some one-time donation links, or there's affiliate links all down below for everything that I talked about. And actually, not even affiliate links, because they just sent me this. There's no affiliate link for that. But otherwise, there's other ones down there that you can check out. I thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time, happy printing and enjoy the unboxing. See you later. Here it is, guys. I have wanted a palette for ever since I started 3D printing. It's a cool machine. You can add it to any 3D printer and get multicolored prints out of it. it's like the MMU2S, but that is made for the Prusa. Like, it's their firmware, and I'm sure you can get that to work with other printers if you modify it, but this is literally meant to be made with anything. And I've been spending some time playing with their Canvas software, which we'll talk about here in a little bit later. But I'm just super excited. This just came in the mail today. It's actually been lost in the mail for about a month and a half. So I am just drooling to knock into this. So let's get it open and see what it's all about, because I don't know a whole lot about it. I've done my reading, but I really want to check this thing out. Eventually. There we go. All right. So we have our Palette 2S Pro Getting Started Guide, which is very simple. Lots of things in there. Whoop. With wet signatures from the COO and CTO. But Mitch did forget to sign that. Oh man. There it is. There is the Palette 2S Pro. It is also a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. I don't know why I expected it to be bigger, but I guess it just looks bigger in all the pictures. So let's get, oh man, all right. Let's take that out. Let me get all the parts out and then we'll see what we need to do here, because I don't really know. All right, so let's check out this Getting Started guide. What do we have here? It's only compatible 1.75mm filament. Do not pour mains while it's powered on. Dries keep sticking. Do not force filament in. It can get hot. Okay, so how to slice things with this. That is the one thing that I have been playing with, and I have a model ready to go. And I think it should work out, but we'll see. I actually have two models ready to go. My Maker Coin and a little Yoda ornament I've been working on with a Twitter guy. So use a software called Canvas. It's totally web-based. It requires nothing of your computer. You just log in there, create a profile, add your machine in, which I'll show you guys how I ended up doing that. You have to add your machine, you have to add the palette, then you have to link the two, which I found out on my own. Took me a little minute, but I'm sure it's probably in this guide on how to actually do that. And then once I was able to do that, I was able to select the different colors and actually get that working. It gives us all of the parts here, what we have, which there are lots of parts. There's different mounting brackets. There's the stand, which I definitely want to get the stand on here real quick. There we go. That's how we should look, like that. And in here it tells us all of the spare parts that come in here, the internals that are in here, the externals, setting it up, 1 of 4. So we're going to do the stand. Or you can mount it, so it can be on the stand like this. It can be mounted on the wall with the wall mount like this, or it can lay flat like so. They give you 3 different sized Bowden tubes here that you need, that you can use for various printers. Small, medium, and large is pretty much what it comes with. And these are actually even, they're like milled almost. That is just the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. So we have our small, medium, and large tubes there. Very, very interesting. Actually, I think I will use the large just because I'm going to set it up here to the side. We have our power supply, and it comes with lots of different plugs. That's good to have because not everybody is ordering from the same place, and I guess it's cheap enough just to put on all of them in there. We got different European ones. It's a very small brick, which is nice. Let's see, this is a 1.5 amp. Wow, 1.5 amps. That is nothing. And then in here, this is probably going to be the spare stuff. Yeah, so they've got the Extruder Clip, which is an interesting thing, which I'll have to check into that. There's some extra screws. There's some extra sensors in here. An extra idler arm. We've got a USB cable, screwdriver, stickers, all kinds of weird things. Oh, and we do have the SD card, which we will definitely need that. And that just goes in the top like so. Now if we want to take a look at the internals here, we can just pop this off, and this is just held on with a couple super strong magnets. And we can see the internals here. So and it tells you everything is. So this is the buffer right here. Here's our buffer switch, the wheel scroll. Here's our actual cutter. So this is the magic of the actual unit right here. Here's our outgoing drive arm, and then we have drive 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's all the sensors that are associated with that. We can peel that off. And that is just a super slick. Here's actually where the cutter wheel is. So this actually will snip each one very cleanly. And this actually fuses in here. This is what gets super hot. And that's what fuses your filament inside of there. And that is about the most that I know about this unit. I am just tickled to even try and play with it and see how it goes. I will put in the Bowden tube while we're here though, which again just slots right here into the top of it, like so. And it's that keyed, if you look here, so it's hard to tell, but that is keyed right there. And I guess it's kind of like milled the way they've done, I don't know how they've done that, but it's super cool. And the other side is, so this is what goes to your extruder, this kind of, this tapered side, and then the straight side here. And this here is the straight side, and this is what goes into the top of the palette. So the guide is pretty easy to follow, great pictures of everything. Tells you how to hook up the other end to your extruder, so I'll have to figure out how I'm going to set that up on there, and then how to do the spool holder, which I do have the rep cord rep box, so I don't think I'm going to need to do that, but I might put it together just for kicks. But a very simple, easy thing, and it does tell us here in the very end on examples of how to set up the different Bowden tubes on what you actually are going to need to use, and then going to canvas3d.io in order to use their software, and how to access the filament path in case you have a jam or something in there. So all good to know. So this spool holder does also seem to be pretty nifty, where you got your two bottoms fit in there, and there's actually keys on the back where you can mount this on a wall. And there are 3 different mounting points here for your actual pole to go in. So if you're mounted on the wall, you can have it like that and it just comes right off. Or if you have it sitting down, it can fit just like that. So very simple implementation. And again, here is the back mounting bracket, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 mounting holes that you could possibly use to mount this thing on your wall. So holy smokes. And their actual extruder hookup here seems very interesting to me. I'm going to show you how this actually hooks on. So they give you a bunch of these little Velcro tabs, and there are 8 in here? 6 in here. And it's this itty bitty little Velcro tab with a piece of 3M on it that you stick down, and then you have this Mosaic labeled thing that will clip on there, and then your Bowden tube then clips into here, and there's a little grommet on here. You see that grommet? So there's a grommet on there that then holds this in place, and it takes a little bit of force but to get it back out. It does come with a spare grommet. So I mean, out of the box you can hook this up to 6 different printers and not have a problem at all. So that is pretty interesting. That is also out of focus. So once we have this thing powered on, go next. I'm using the medium tube for this, and onboarding is complete. You see that? Oh, it's a little too blown out. There we go. Start print, controls, print model, settings. So you can do your calibrate your palette, which we'll probably do that here in a minute. Splice tuning, preferences. There's all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to look a little bit more on what we can do with this, and kind of go with random, multi-spool, from file. There's so much stuff you can do in here. So we're definitely going to play with this and see if I can't get my first print going. Alright, so I'm doing the calibration right now. That screen's really hard to show there. So it's on its 3rd piece now, but it's really cool to kind of watch it work here. And so it's going to cut right there, pulled out the red, pushed the white in, and now it's heating that up and merging those 2 colors together, the red and the white. Now it's cooling. There's a fan in there that blows on it to cool it down, and then it's going to start pushing it ahead, and it goes up through here and winds around and then comes out the top there. So very, very cool so far. It's interesting. It's nice to watch this work outside to see how it actually does work.